Welcome back to History on a Hog. I'm Captain Boz. We left off in Part 4 just after President Madison ordered the governors of Tennessee, Georgia, and the Mississippi Territory to muster their respective states' militia in order to deal with the Red Stick uprising in the area that is now Alabama. There weren't any U.S. troops available to deal with the uprising. Following the horror of the Fort Mims massacre, the Tennessee governor ordered the state's militia to quickly muster and respond to the atrocity. In command of the Tennessee militia was the fiery, larger-than-life figure, Militia Major General Andrew Jackson. And I emphasize the word militia here, because Andrew Jackson was not a regular U.S. Army commissioned general, or officer for that matter. He was just an appointed Tennessee state officer.
The appointment, haven't you heard?
The militia.
You're married to a general, Rachel. Governor Blunt signed the appointment this morning at the State House. This is just about the best Tuesday we've ever had. Did you hear? And he's been appointed to head the state militia.
In fact, he had had no formal military training in his life. The closest he had been to war was as a young boy in the Revolutionary War, where his home was attacked by British soldiers, his brother was killed, and he had been slashed by a British officer's sword. And as a result, he hated and despised the British. But he was an intelligent man who studied tactics from books. He possessed loads of common sense and had an uncanny sense of tactical field awareness that few successful military commanders possess. And he knew his way around politics. He ultimately won over the confidence of the Tennessee governor to the point he was appointed the commander of the state militia. So in the fall of 1813, he took command and made preparations for the upcoming military campaign. His mission? To track down, punish, and destroy the Red Stick Indian band that had attacked American frontier settlers in the Mississippi Territory. And inferred in the order was to seek out and destroy British troops in the South. On September 24th of 1813, Jackson would assemble his men in Fayetteville, Tennessee, swelling to a force of over 3,000 men. But Andrew Jackson would not initially lead them south into battle. They would instead be led out of Tennessee by his deputy, Militia Brigadier General John Coffee. The reason? Do you remember when I told you about Jackson being a hellraiser, amongst other things? Well, just a week prior to moving out with his army, Jackson got into a heated argument with a man who had seriously insulted his honor at a Nashville City hotel. Insulting someone's honor was a big thing in those days. Not sure if the consumption of any local moonshine was involved, but wouldn't put it past him to have a nip or two. Anyways, the argument quickly intensifies into a brawl, with fists flying and furniture being thrown about the room. Then the fight escalates again, when pistols were drawn and gunshots exchanged. Jackson's shot missed, but the other guy hit Jackson in the left shoulder with the bullet lodged in his upper arm. Jackson immediately slumped to the ground unconscious, thought dead. But he wasn't. He was moved into a hotel room and the town doctor was called. Upon seeing the wound, the doctor wanted to immediately amputate the arm. But even in his delirium, Jackson said no, threatening the doctor's life if he amputated his arm. Then he passed out from the loss of blood. In the end, the doctor did not amputate his arm. It was said that he was in and out of consciousness during this time, close to death. But with his wife Rachel nursing him back to health over the next several weeks, he would pull through. As you might imagine, he was just too ornery to die. 2 weeks later, with his arm in a sling and a bullet still in his arm, he mounted his horse and hurriedly galloped off to catch up to his command, who had had a month's head start on him. He would find them 3 days later. What an incredible feat of stamina and will. Not only would he continue to fight the remainder of the war with a bullet in his arm, but it would remain in his body throughout his presidency and until his death. Fascinating. In the meantime, Jackson's deputy commander, Brigadier General John Coffee, had marched the Tennesseans deep into Creek territory and had already won a series of small skirmishes against the Red Sticks. And on November 3, 1813, along the Coosa River in north-central Alabama, Coffee and the Tennessee Militia engaged a large force of Red Sticks and thoroughly decimated the native war party in what would later become known as the Battle of Tallahatchie. It was a brutal battle, and many Red Sticks, including many women and children, were killed. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. Evidently, atrocities went both ways. Not long after Coffee's victory, Jackson would catch up with the Tennessee Militia and take command, and immediately he went on the offensive, relentlessly pursuing the Red Sticks. On November 9th, after receiving a message, a call for help really, from 150 Allied Creeks and Cherokees who were surrounded by over 700 Red Stick warriors near present-day Talladega, Alabama, Jackson wasted no time and aggressively attacked them, and won another decisive victory against the Red Sticks at what became to be known as the Battle of Talladega. But many of the enlistments of the militiamen were expiring at the end of December, and Jackson had the Red Sticks by the throat and on the run. With the forces he had left, he continued to pursue the Red Sticks and attack them wherever and whenever he found them, well into January and February of 1814, winning many small battles and skirmishes during this time. Pleading with the governor of Tennessee for more troops so he could continue the attack, Jackson finally received reinforcements by mid-February with additional Tennessee militia units and, surprisingly, with regular U.S. Army troops. President Madison had begun to take note of Jackson's success, and he instructed the Secretary of War to divert some regular U.S. Army units from the other military theaters and place them under Jackson's direct command. With the influx of fresh troops, Jackson was able to resume his offensive and pursue the Red Sticks. By early March, Jackson had received intel reports from one of his exceptional frontier Indian scouts, a man who would later become famous in his own right, and I'll tell you about him later on. Anyways, this scout reported that the main body of the remnants of the Red Stick force, including their leader, Chief Menawa, was encamped in an Indian village along a U-shaped bend in a nearby river. Jackson wasted no time in moving his troops. He did not want what was left of the Red Stick force to escape, so he rapidly moved his men in 2 columns towards the Indian village on the Tallapoosa River. On the night of March 26, 1814, Militia General Andrew Jackson and a contingent of 3,300 regulars, militiamen, and Indian allies camped 6 miles north of Horseshoe Bend. The Red Sticks, under the direction of Chief Menawa, had fortified their village located on the peninsula created by the bend in the river. The Red Stick punitive campaign would all come to a head at the decisive Battle of Horseshoe Bend on March 27th of 1814. So what happens at Horseshoe Bend? Who wins the battle? And what would be the ramifications of the battle for Andrew Jackson? Get some answers as the story continues in Part 6. Next time on History on a Hog. I hope you've been enjoying this series. Please hit like or subscribe so you can keep up with new episodes and future series. And please, share this channel with your friends. Find out more about me and this site at my newly published History on a Hog website on the World Wide Web at historyonahog.com. Thanks for watching.